Today, we say goodbye. Not to the hardcore world as a whole, hopefully, but we are saying goodbye to our starter island. We've been here for months and months, and we've had a wonderful time. We've built loads of awesome farms, we've got some pretty cool builds going on, and I do love just running around this place. But it's time for us to move on. We will be back here in future, of course. We'll probably still slot some farms in here and there where we've got space inside some of these buildings, but it's time for us to go start a new project. And this is going to be in a whole new area of the world with a whole new theme. But we'll get to the theme very shortly. First, what we actually need to do is discover where we're actually going to build. So we're going to be going on a bit of a flight. And that means I should probably take more than one pair of wings with me. I need to grab a whole bunch of rockets, and clearly I need to sleep before we set off. I've got an inventory full of rockets, and I've got spare elytra in my ender chest. I think it's time for us to go searching. And what we're going to be looking for is a massive mountain range. Not because we want to build in the mountains, but because we want to build in the valleys. So we actually need a couple of mountains, I guess, next to each other, and some kind of a valley for us to use. And if I remember correctly, there are a bunch of mountains off in this direction, but they're not particularly close. I think they're a good few thousand blocks away. So let's head off in this direction, see if we can rediscover the mountain range we found before, and hopefully we can find the perfect location for building ourselves a tiny world. I mean, this isn't quite what I was looking for, but oh my, look at that. That's an amazing cave entrance. We are definitely going to be back here to build at some point in future. Wow, what an area. Here we go, we've got some mountains rendering in. Definitely in new chunks here though, so can't be the area we saw before. Well, this area's not too bad. It's quite a nice valley, but I'm not too sure if it's going to be wide enough down here for what we want to do, although I do really like this bowl. After much umming and ahhing and looking at different valleys in this area, I think I've made a choice. And this is my choice. I mean, this area as a whole is just amazing. These mountains go on for absolutely ages, but this area here I think is going to have the right amount of space for me. Problem is, I really don't want this lump there. There we go, this is going to be much better to work with, and I guess it's probably time I told you what we're actually doing here. So as I said, we are moving on to a new theme, a new build area, and this section here is going to be the very start of that. And what we want to do is essentially make a tiny world, or a giant world, I guess, depending on how you look at it. So when I was growing up, I was a really big fan of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and in fact more recently I've been playing a game called Grounded, which should lead you a little bit more into this theme, but essentially I want to know what it's like to be a tiny person in a giant world. So we're going to be building things here that are massively oversized. In fact, the very first build we're putting here is going to be a giant matchbox. So this whole area is going to be overgrown. We're going to be removing a lot of the trees around the side here because they're going to kind of ruin the scale, I guess. Didn't really contemplate that when I picked this area. That's actually only just occurred to me. But we're going to be putting in lots of giant grass blades and things like that to essentially make this look like we've been shrunk down. But we can't just build an area with no purpose. And this area is definitely going to have a purpose. A long overdue purpose, in fact. And we're going to turn this into our centralized storage system for the world. So eventually it will be a massive automated storage system, hopefully sorting most, if not all, the items in the game. But obviously we're not going to do that in one episode. That would just be crazy. But for today, what I do want to do is some of the groundwork. So we're probably going to get the matchbox built up over here, although I do need to get some resources for that. And for the automated storage system to be effective, one thing we're definitely going to need is a lot more shulker boxes. So we're also going to have to go to the end at some point this episode, and we're going to make ourselves a shulker farm. But before we can even do that, I do need to repair these tools. They've been absolutely knackered by what's going on over there, of course. That took quite a while. And we need to gather lots and lots of resources, primarily terracotta. So let's quickly go do that, and then we'll come back here and make a start on this matchbox, and hopefully we can pull this off. It's a good start. I think we've got the basic shape in. I've started adding a little bit of detail, and we've put a design on the top here. And if you're familiar with UK matchboxes, you may recognize it a little bit, potentially, maybe, who knows. But I've also made a start on the entrance down here. We're going to have rips in the box, we're going to have tears and stuff elsewhere, we're going to have matches everywhere, but yeah, we've got a lot of texturing to do, so let's crack on. I'm not so sure, you know. I've been going at this for a while now, putting down some things, working out how to do little weird grassy bits and whatnot, and, well, it turns out this is really, really difficult. I mean, it's not terrible, and I'm sure we'll get better at it over time, and we're probably going to end up changing a lot of this, but I'm just not 100% sold. From a distance, it's looking pretty good, but just up close, it's just really difficult to actually make this work. But I'm not a quitter, so we'll figure it out. Just not right now. Right now, we're going to go to the end and make a shulker farm instead while I contemplate my life choices once again. Crisis over. I've had a cup of tea. I mean, the crisis at the actual build site is still ongoing, but it's okay. We'll get back to that towards the end of the episode. For now, we're going to go and build that shulker farm. So I've been watching some tutorials, and I've basically found a really good one. I'll link to that in the description, and this is all the stuff I'm going to need. The good news is it's a single dimension shulker farm, which means it's quite easy to build. I can just go to the end, find a nice city, and build it over there. I don't think we've been here since we killed the dragon. Oh, no, actually, that's a lie. We came and stole an obsidian pillar last episode, didn't we? So it looks like the first time I came here, I went that way, which means any cities over there probably won't have shulkers in. So hopefully there's a city over here, I guess. Is my... my wings aren't in the best condition. There we go, much better. Wings are healed. Now we can go. Aha, finally, we found one. So this is actually about 2,000 blocks from that portal, but I've stayed quite close to the inner ring, so hopefully when we kill the dragon more, we'll actually end up with the portal quite close by. But importantly, there's shulkers here, look at that. So, safety first, let's get a pumpkin on. And what we want to do is just pick an area around here. And now it's time for me to follow a tutorial. So you're probably going to see a quick time lapse of this. But once it's all built, I'll try and explain how it works if I actually know. And, well, when I'm getting the shulker in, I'm of course going to bring you back for that, right? And now I need to get him. The question is, how do I get him all the way over there without too much trouble? I don't really know, so let's just go for it, I guess. And I think it makes sense for me just to build the rail up there first, and then we'll figure out how to actually capture the shulker without, well, flying away continuously. So we've got a big long path, and in theory, if we put an activator rail there and get that powered, stick a whole bunch of rail down all the way over to the city, and we should probably power occasional bits of that as well, shouldn't we? Let's be honest. And now comes the tricky bit, because the shulker's probably not going to be particularly happy with what I'm about to do, but we've got to get close to him, we've got to get this rail down, so... do we just go for it? Let's actually get in line first. We want to make sure we're passing a minecart alongside the shulker, so somewhere here should be fine. Let's get another powered rail down. Let's just go for it. Okay, we'll do this. We'll get that powered. We haven't been hit yet, but there's quite a lot of projectiles flying around now, so that's probably not going to last much longer. Oh, there we go. We've been hit. Fair enough. See you in a minute, buddy. I think we're all clear. Let's try this again. See if we can get these last few bits of track down. Oh, there's two of them there. So my theory is if I just push a minecart down here, it should pick up one of those. Okay. Let's try this again, shall we? Give it a push. Yes, look at that, we've got one. And hopefully he will bounce back and get pushed back up this way. I have not put enough powered rail down. Oh, jeez. Okay, we just need to get a lever down, but we're flying away again currently. Okay, let's do this. Well, it looks like I'm going to need another minecart just to nudge this one along, because apparently the hitbox of the shulker is bigger than the hitbox of the minecart itself. Okay, there's so many projectiles here, this is crazy. Maybe I should have brought a potion of invisibility. That would have been smart, wouldn't it? And there we go. Okay, we've actually got one on the way. We've got two on the way. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but hopefully at least one of them will end up in the farm proper. See if we can get over there and watch it happening. Okay, they're in. Excellent. Now, if we quickly get rid of all of this, in theory, we should end up with shulkers in the right place. How do we check that? Whoa! Really? Wow, they're following me from all the way over there. Come on then. So in theory, there should be snowballs, there should be some projectiles. Yes, look at that. Okay, so that's doing a thing. I just got hit with another projectile. Let's get right out of the way of this thing. And it looks like we're starting to get some shulkers teleporting around. They're getting picked up, they're getting put into the chamber. Ah, it's working! It's working! And I did say I'd explain how it works once it was built, but even after building it, to be honest, I still don't really have a clue. I just put the blocks where it told me to put the blocks, okay? But if you do want to know how to build this, apparently it does like somewhere between 400 and 700 shells per hour once it gets up to speed, which sounds absolutely marvelous. But this tutorial, I believe, was designed and built by someone called Dark, and the tutorial was by MD, so I've linked to that in the description, and if you do want to build it yourselves, go check it out. It was fairly straightforward, although a couple of mistakes were made during the build, but overall, it's fairly easy to build, and it didn't really take too long. And hopefully, we're now going to have an endless supply of shulkers. I mean, it certainly appears that way. We've got lots teleporting around, and they should start... I think they die from entity cramming. I think that's the kill mechanism. I don't know. But we're going to stand here for a little while. We're going to watch the farm, and hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of shulkers at the end of it. In fact, look, we can see them entity cramming already. I've had the farm running for about 10 minutes, and that's a ridiculous amount of shells. We're never going to want for shulkers again. But while I'm here, I'm going to go AFK for probably a good couple of hours. Let's see if we can get a couple of double chests of shells, and then we're probably never actually going to need to run the farm again, which is a good thing because that also means we won't have to come back here again, which is fantastic because I have absolutely no idea how to make this farm look good without creating lots and lots of spawnable spots for the shulkers. So, yeah, if we can just grab what we need and run, I'm fine with that. Well, I've been AFK much longer than I originally intended. Let's see how we're doing. Oh my. Oh my, 2.5 double chests, that's like 5 chests of shulker shells. I don't think I've ever had this many in my life. But safe to say that's going to be more than enough for our needs. So let's just clear some space here. And do I have any wood left anywhere? Can I make any more chests? Apparently not. I have not planned this very well, have I? So I've got all the shulker shells in the world and no way to turn them into chests. Although... there we go, that'll do. We'll just steal 5 of those. 5 and a bit boxes of shulker shells later. I think it's finally time to go home. Let's make sure I'm using the right pickaxe here. Silky, that's the one. Back at the matchbox, we can carry on with what we were doing earlier, hopefully in a slightly better way. And I think it does actually already look better. I actually took down a lot of the grass that we had. I think that was the problem. I think it was just a little bit too busy. And the really big plant that we had here out the front during the time lapse, I do want to keep, just not here. It was kind of blocking the entire view. So I think I'm going to build some more stuff around the outside. We're going to make sure we have a big plant over the back, but I reckon we can definitely make this work. I've just got to make sure I don't clutter it too much, because if it looks a little bit too bitty, it's just not really going to work for us. I think the break to make the shulker farm was definitely beneficial. That is looking so much better than it did originally. If I actually land and go into free cam, we can have a proper look without me floating around. But yeah, this is definitely much more what I had in my brain. With the addition of these bits at the back as well, that's looking pretty good. But we will, of course, definitely need to remove these trees because that's kind of ruining the illusion at the moment. It's either remove them or just make really thick grass bits at the back here. So yeah, something's going to have to give there. I still haven't given the interior much thought yet, but I have been thinking about the exterior a little bit more. And we've got the matchbox, we've got the grass, but I think it needs something else right here. And there we go, that's looking much better. We have a giant licorice all sort just sitting here, and I have absolutely no idea what we're going to do inside this place, apart from run away currently, because I didn't actually put any torches in there. Let's quickly sort that out. Well, I didn't have any torches, so glowstone will have to do, but there's not a lot of space in here, so there's probably not much we can do with the interior of this. It was more about the exterior, to be perfectly honest, and give a bit more colour to the area. But, thinking about it, actually, It is made of concrete powder. We could put a tiny little concrete maker in here or something like that. Who knows? But once again, if we go into free cam to get a proper look, this is really starting to come together. And I'm very pleased with how that's come along so far. But I'm going to need to give some thought to how we're going to do the interior of this. As I say, I do want this to be a massive storage area, which means we are, of course, going to be going underground and digging out massive, massive areas for auto-sorted storage. But the top here, I don't know. We'll figure it out, I guess. But sadly, that's all we've got time for today. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.